course. Right. To give you an example, it's monochronic. Alex knows that's one of my favorite topics, monochronic and polychronic cultures, where there are substantial differences. With monochronic, one person at a time, take turns, etc., etc. With polychronic, where everybody speaks at the same time, and the more you are excited, the more you are jumping in, which really pushes a lot of buttons with right. Some other cultures. And so now, is this a matter of negotiation? Do we try to find a middle ground, or is it always the dominant culture? And so that's why this whole concept of English as a lingua franca and international has a leveling field effect in a way, and it really invites us to discuss these things if we really want to have a much more egalitarian, type of communication where everybody first, feels heard, and then it's also very enriching. For me, this model is because all of a sudden, as you said, and you can have the comparison on every level, from the way I gave the example, what's your name, to how do you say goodbye, and then, in Japanese. And so people learn things, how do you say I, in some cultures like this, they're like this. So you walk away, so every classroom turns into a fantastic experience where everybody, including the teacher, walks away, with much bigger and much more nuanced understanding of how language and culture work.
Elka, we're coming to the end of our time, but there was one intriguing question from one of the posts, and that was, do you think a monolingual speaker of English can be a successful or effective English teacher? Which is goes back to a lot of the things you were saying about the benefits of multilingualism and multiculturalism. But could you respond to that question?
Definitely, because we have all seen fantastic teachers who are monolingual, and still they have so much, But as long as the person is a true professional, and there are a lot of ways for us to develop really true professional knowledge. There's a fantastic book called The Outliers, and this guy Malcolm Caldwell, he says that we all need at least 10,000 hours to put in our professional development to really reach some level. So this said, if one takes his or her profession seriously, and they read a lot, and they have some knowledge of the history of language that helps, and also different, language acquisition books, so and people know a lot about how people learn, in general, and language learning in particular. One can really be a good, a wonderful teacher. And still, they say, I still think it's a little bit of a liability to be a monolingual person, because then we miss a lot of opportunity to make connections for students, because some students make them anyway. Some of our students come, they are multilingual, they are so sophisticated and accomplished, they know a lot of meta language, or they just have a lot of experience. So if we don't have any other, so as I said, we are missing on certain opportunities, and these are important, very important cognitive shortcuts. If we have some awareness, then sometimes one sentence, and the students are there. For instance, you know how very often English, not very often, but English is one of these languages where we have to have the subject. It's a mandatory component of the sentence. Spanish is one of these languages, they call it the prodrop, and so if we say it's like this, you need it, or make some kind of a cross-linguistic, within seconds people know that they don't have to, they just, that is something that Dick Schmidt calls the difference between system learning and item learning. If you know this thing, the moment you hear the first example of Spanish that they are not using their subject, you know it, that is a prodrop language. Oh, so it's like Italian, some other, it's like Bulgarian. So immediately you make this connection, you are ahead of the game. Right. Well, let's say if you have never been exposed, it will take, people get there. That's the beauty of language, it's always learnable, but it takes much more time and exposure to very specific examples for students to come to this awareness. So in Spanish I don't have to worry about the subject.
Well, Elka, our time is up. I'd like to thank you very warmly for coming and sharing your expertise and your perspectives and your curiosity this afternoon. And if you could close by just reminding our students that you will actually be teaching face-to-face at the New School in New York this summer, and maybe tell people what course you'll be teaching.
I am the one who am so grateful that you made me part of your discussion, because these are really exciting, fascinating topics, and as you said, it's a very nice time to be teaching, because I see the last few years as very optimistic, and things have been moving in the right direction, away from simplistic reductionist explanations, away from discrimination, but it takes time, and it's all of us will be part of this change. So if everything goes okay, I'll be seeing some of you this summer, and it is English structures and the discourse analysis. So we'll be revisiting.
And that's in the second session.
So this is the second part of the summer, so we should be, I guess, inevitably we'll be revisiting a lot of these questions, because, discourse and whose norms and norm flouting and all of that stuff. They were very interesting. It was, as you said, my only regret, I only had about 5 minutes to go over the questions, but I was really impressed with the nature of the questions, and there were some very interesting examples that you were giving, just that kind of proved that these dichotomies are something that needs serious re-examination.
Okay, thank you again, Elka, and I will see everyone soon on the web.
And enjoy it. I'm sure you're in good hands. You're having a wonderful experience. So see you in the summer maybe. Okay.
Bye-bye.